Hello and welcome to the 8th video in this tutorial series on how to make a planet defense game. In this tutorial we will be adding power-ups that are just little squares that appear randomly around the outside of the planet and they will fade away if untouched after 5 seconds. So let's create a new class and we will save it as speedboost.hx. We can put this in our project with package semicolon, and then class speedboost extends flexsprite as we have done before, and then import flexor.flexsprite. Then we will create our new method. So I think we're actually going to copy a bit of code from our enemy class just to save time. So let's copy all of this, just like that. Now we don't need the onTouch method, so we can get rid of those lines, just like that. And let's change the enemy picture to be the power-up picture. So before this episode started, I just drew this lightning bolt square image here, and it's 8 pixels by 8 pixels. But you can make it whatever size you want. I just thought it would be good if it was half the size of the player. So let's save this as boost speed and let's export it as a PNG, and then here we can just say boost speed.png, and the size is 8 by 8, and there is no animations, so we can change true to false and get rid of that animation line. Now we've got the speed boost class. Let's make it so that after 5 seconds it will automatically disappear. So import flexor.util.flextimer, and then down in our new method we can say new flextimer. Now the first argument it wants is the time before the timer should be let off, so let's just set that to be 5 seconds. And the callback is a function that takes one argument, and that is of a type flextimer, and it gets called when the timer ticks. So let's just say function timer. We need timer there because this function requires that it's accepting a timer, so that flextimer, when it's ticked, it can pass it. And then here we can just say kill. So after 5 seconds, if this object's still around and the player hasn't touched it, then kill it. And make sure you put a semicolon there. Now that we've done that, let's add a group to our play state for all of the power-ups. So here we can just say beneath these groups, I'm just going to create a variable speed boost, although you can create if you want to create more than one type of booster, whether it's like a bullet speed booster, whatever, you can just create a group called boost group, but I'm considering that I'm only going to have one type of booster, which is a speed booster, then I'm just going to say speed boost. And this is of a type flex group, and it will be equal to a new flex group. Just like that. Now that we've done that, we have to add speed boost to the screen. So we want this to be underneath our UI elements because we don't want the speed boost appearing on top of the, for instance, turret buy button, but we still want it above the player. So let's just say add speed boost, which adds all of the speed boost to the screen. Now what we need to do is just duplicate this line here that starts off a new timer, and instead of 4 seconds, every 10 seconds, it will create boost, and we need the comma 0 here to pass it 0 because comma 0 means it loops infinitely. If this was say 3, it would wait 10 seconds, create a booster, wait 3 seconds, create a boost, wait 3 seconds, create a boost, but then it would stop. With 0, it infinitely creates more boosts. So now we need to create this function because we're telling it the name of a function called createBoost that gets called every 10 seconds. Let's go down here where we have createEnemy. Below that we will just put createBoost. This accepts a timer argument, just like in here we had to have a timer. Here we have to have a timer too. Then here I'm just going to say bullet group, no, not bullet group, speed boosts dot add new speed boost. Now it wants a random angle, so flex random dot int ranged between 1 and 360, and then it wants the planet that this booster should be placed on, so I'm just going to pass it our planet. Right, so now let's create the collisions. So in our update method, we can actually just copy and paste the whole flexg.collide here, and then we can say if a collision between the player and speed boosts, then call this function. So the first argument should be p or player, and then the second argument, let's just set that to be sb. Now what do we want to happen when there's a collision between the player and a speed boost? Well, we want the speed boost to be removed from our screen first. SB, so the specific speed boost that we touched, not the whole group, dot kill, so destroy it. But before we kill it, we want to let it boost the player. So let's say SB dot, and then here we're just going to write a function in here, so public function on touch player, and this will take an argument of a player because it needs to access the player's variables. And then here we can just say player dot, and then we can change the speed. Now if you look in the player class, you will see that the speed variable doesn't have public before it. Because of that, our speed boost class, which is in a different file, won't be able to change the speed. If you don't have public, it means that only this file is able to change that variable. So let's just say player.speed is equal to, now you can see here that it's by default 40. Player.speed equals maybe 60. Now one thing you could do here is you could say plus equals 10, which basically says from now on the player's speed should always be 10 more than what it is now. But we're just going to be setting it to be equal to 60. So now we need to call this onTouchPlayer method. So here P, so the player dot onTouchPlayer, SB, so the speed boost dot onTouchPlayer, and we want to pass it the player that it should increase the speed of. Now let's see if this works. Right, we've got a few errors. Let me just show them. So it doesn't know what angle from planet is. So in speed boost, we just need to create a new variable, their angle from planet, and this is of a type int, and it doesn't know what planet is. So var planet colon planet with a capital P. So we forgot to put these variables here when we copied it from the other class when we started. Now, one thing you'll notice is we've got all this angle and planet data, but we're not actually using it to position the player with an X and Y. So let's do that now. We can copy some of this code from the enemy class. So let's just copy all of that and put it in our speed boost class, that whole update method, making sure that I copy it properly. So basically we're saying override the update method, call super.update, so update the sprite. We don't need to do any animation work, and we don't need to lower it down towards the player like the enemies do. We don't need to check that the boost is touching the ground, but we do need to calculate position. And then we need to copy the calculate position method, which is a generic method that takes an angle and a planet and a distance to the planet, and we'll put it on that planet with an X and Y, and we'll also adjust our angle. So now let's try and run this. Oh, our app's still open. A few errors. Distance from ground, it doesn't know what that is, and we need to import flex angle, which we use here. So import flexel.util.flexAngle, and it also doesn't know what distance from ground is, but because it's on the ground, we can actually just get rid of that. Now, I did make a mistake in the previous episode, and I put an annotation for that. We don't need these plus and minus 8s, they just take up room, and I just mucked up my trig that episode. Now let's run it. Speed boost 7 unexpected class. Oh, I forgot a semicolon. Alright, let's see if it works. So in 10 seconds, a power, oh, there it is right there. And if we touch it, then there we go, we move faster. Right, so it's working, that's good. But there's a few things that are wrong. One, it wasn't positioned perfectly on the planet. We need it to sit on the planet, not underneath it. So to fix that, let's go to speed boost here and say planet radius plus, and here I'm just going to put plus 8 because my image is 8 tall. But we don't need to do the minus 8 thing that I had over there, that wasn't needed. And one other thing is the speed boost was a little low, so let's set the player speed to be 80, which is quite fast. And what else? One other thing, and that's the speed constantly gets set to that fast speed, and we want it to only last maybe 5 seconds before that speed boost wears off. So basically, when we touch the player and we increase the speed boost, we also want to create a new timer. So new timer, and we're just going to delay an event that will reset the player's speed back to the standard default speed. So the first argument is of course how long this speed boost should last. So I'm just going to say maybe 6 seconds, considering that a new one appears every 10 seconds. And the function that it should call, and this of course accepts a timer as we've done in the past. Don't forget a semicolon there. And then here we're just going to say p the player dot speed equals 40, which is what it's at by default. Now let's run it. Type not found timer. Oh, we just need to make that flex timer. Right, now if we play, we should see a power up appear any second now. There we are. So there's one there, and when we touch it we go really fast. And then we can buy a turret, and we're back to the normal speed after that turret's run out. But if we get one here, that didn't seem to work well. It seems like everything's working in terms of the turret's effect on the player's speed, but it seems like these power-ups aren't perfectly on the planet. So let's... I know I said that in an annotation that this is wrong, but let's try and subtract 8 here. Let's try that. Although I think that what we've got at the moment works fine, I'd like to try this. But now, if we see a power up, it should appear perfectly on the surface, hopefully. Right, there we go, it's on the surface. So maybe I shouldn't have put that annotation there, because it seems like doing plus 8 minus 8 is what we actually want. Anyway, this is the end of this episode. I don't think this tutorial is going to last for much longer. They take a lot of work, and I'm going back to school soon. But I think we don't have much more to add to our game. Maybe just polishing it up a little bit. So thank you for watching this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed.